Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, Greg here, founder of www.wrestling-divas.webs.com, your source for highlighting the most beautiful and deadly entertainers in professional wrestling. Thanks to everyone for tuning in via blogtalkradio.com for another exclusive interview on the behalf of my website. Today, I have a very special guest joining me. She is a model, professional wrestler, and actress who is perhaps best known for her work within the UPN Women of Wrestling television program, where she portrayed the character Lana Star. She has also appeared for Wrestlicious, which is hosted by Jimmy Hart, as the character Malibu McKenzie, and she has also appeared on hit TV shows and movies such as Iron Man, Jimmy Kimmel Live, and Pay It Forward. So I'd like to welcome my next special guest, the very lovely Lana Kinnear. Hi, Lana. How are you?
I'm good, Greg. Thank you for having me on the show. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much.
Sweet.
Before we get over the start of your career and get into that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard that you landed a role in a comedy film starring Rob Schneider and Michelle Rodriguez from Avatar called Inappropriate Comedy. Is that correct?
Yeah. Is Rob Schneider's in it? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's called Inappropriate Comedy. It's made by one of the producers is the guy that did the Slap Chop, those infomercials. And actually, I don't even know if the part is ever going to even be in the movie because me and a friend, we got hired for it. And one day we went to shoot. They never got to our part. So the following, week, we went back to shoot the next day. And then it got dark, and they were having problems with lighting. So they shot it all fast, and I don't know if the lighting's ever was good enough, or hopefully it'll come out because it should be a pretty funny movie considering who's doing it. Vince, the ShamWow guy. He does Slap Chop and ShamWow.
Well, I see. Can you explain, and I know, your knowledge is limited, and of course it hasn't come out yet, but can you kind of explain your small role in the film and, what the scene is all about or anything about your character?
Well, they're kind of making fun of what people think LA is. So they're making it look like all LA is, it was shot at Venice Beach. So they're trying to pretend it's just gangs and then people on the beach in bikinis and, plastic surgery. And it's all very over the top. And so me and a girlfriend were just, girls that are walking down the beach, and we meet a couple of the gang members, and we just strike up a conversation with them. It was very funny and silly and campy. I guess he had made a previous movie years and years ago, so it's kind of a second copy of that movie, just updated, and it's got some really gross humor in it. So I think it's gonna get more than an R rating, maybe an NC-17 rating. I think that's worse than an R rating. So I'm not positive, but that's what I heard at the time.
Wow, that's one hell of a comedy film if it gets that rating, because I haven't heard any film get that rating quite a while.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm excited to see it, regardless.
So going back to the beginning of your career, you were a model and an actress, and you appeared in a film before you ever appeared in WOW, Women of Wrestling, which was on UPN from 2000 to 2001. Mm-hmm. And the casting call for that particular show was very large. I heard it was somewhere over 1,100 girls auditioned for that show, and no more than 40 got contracts. So you appeared on the show as Lana Star. What was your inspiration for wanting to get involved with the professional wrestling industry?
Well, I had always been a huge wrestling fan when I was little, growing up. I loved, Hart Foundation and like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. So I was like a huge fan as a little kid, and I always wanted to get into it. And my agent called me to audition, and he was like calling and calling. He was like, "You got to go to this audition right now. They're looking for a host for this wrestling show." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, awesome." So I'm getting ready. Then he calls back. He goes, "Oh, forget it. They actually want people to be wrestlers. You don't need to go." And I'm like, "No, I want to go. I want to be a wrestler. That would be awesome." So I went to the audition, and I made it past the first call and went to the call back. And then they had us do a lot of, like, athletic sports and activities, and I passed that, and then I became one of the final cast members and got a contract, and that's how I became Lana Star at that time.
So the auditioning process that you went through was ran for a number of months, and at times it was very, very strenuous here. You were in training a lot to learn all the moves and to learn how to be these characters in the ring. So actually being a fan and growing up and then going through with the training process, was it as difficult as you thought it was going to be? Was it more strenuous? Was it more active? What were your thoughts about the whole process?
Well, we trained 5 days a week every morning. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I don't think it was necessarily harder. I just think that there was so many girls. We were trained by women. It was, I don't know how you say it. There's just so much, not cattiness, but there was so much drama, it seemed like, every day that you couldn't sometimes concentrate because people were always having some kind of personal issues. I think if I had gone on my own and trained like how everybody does, nowadays when they go to schools, and it would just have been a lot different. I think maybe I would have learned more because they were training, 40 people at the same time, all the time, so you couldn't really get that much work in as I would have liked, I suppose. It's hard to remember. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, time flies. Yeah. I still remember watching that show when I was really young, so believe me, I know how fast time goes by. Your character, Lana Star, the star that wants and deserves the red carpet treatment, was heavily featured on that show and was involved with a number of other wrestlers as far as storylines go. I remember one of the storylines was that you were in a feud with another wrestler and someone knocked you out and you had to dye your hair a different color. It went from like blonde to like green. So looking back at it, what did you think about all these storylines, and did you want to were you happy with the position of your character, or did you want to take it into a different direction?
I think that I was pretty happy with whatever. I thought a lot of the things were really funny, and I was down for that. And I think now that I look back, I would have loved to have like put more of a background into Lana Star, and I would have liked to have built her personality more. But I'm pretty happy at what it was at the time. I think it was fun. It was a really fun character to play.
So I hear this gigantic rumor, and I don't know if it's true. I hear that David McLean is looking to revive the show. And for those who don't know, the show's been off the air for over a decade now. So the million-dollar question that I have for you is, if you were given the opportunity to be a part of WOW again as Lana Star, would you take it?
Well, I can say this. I actually went to a convention in December in Las Vegas as Lana Star, and there was another one of the other wrestlers who played part of the Asian Invasion, Jade, and we had a lot of feedback, and David McLean was actually there, so I can say there is some truth to the rumor, and most likely, if it goes forward, I would definitely like to be a part of it.
Well, hintity hint, hint, fans, and you heard it here first. So, continue to stay informed with us, and we'll keep you updated with this whole resurrection of WoW. But my next question is, in the ring, like, you know, the difference between, I think, WoW and Glow is that with WoW, the participants on the show, like, legitimately learned how to work a match. You know, you continued your wrestling career after WoW was defunct. So was getting in the ring and, you know, doing all these moves and taking these bumps, was that ever really difficult for you, or did you eventually learn how to, you know, deal with the pain and build up a callus to it?
I can say, actually, it's almost easier to take the bumps than to do. It's almost easier to lose a match than it is to win, because you kind of just follow the other person. But I don't know how I feel like it is really strenuous on the body, and if you're not like that big, it kind of hurts. Like when I was in WoW, I weighed like 10 pounds more than I do now. So whenever I've wrestled now, it actually hurts a lot more. So I think it's better to be bigger. Back then, nothing hurt me very much, but now it hurts more, if that makes sense. So I guess I didn't really build up much of a tolerance. I actually have had like a concussion and 2 dislocated knees. So the concussion came after WoW. It was during a filming of a commercial, a wrestling commercial.
So, and a lot of fans and people in the industry have many differing opinions about the next topic that I want to bring up. You were a model that became a wrestler, and a lot of times nowadays in wrestling, models get a lot of flack from the fans about getting to the WWE and, you know, not being a fan when they grew up, or not having the discipline that, you know, other fans have. And do you have an opinion on the whole model situation with the WWE and whether or not they should be hired because of their lack of experience?
Well, I was definitely a fan before I started wrestling, but a lot of the girls, I think it just depends. I think if they're a model and they just want to get into WWE because they think that they're going to be famous, then I don't think they should be there. But there's plenty of girls, like, for example, I used to have friends like Christy Hemme and Candice Michelle, and they were both models, and they really worked hard, and they wanted to be good wrestlers. It wasn't that they just wanted to be there for, you know, the spotlight. I think it just depends on who it is. And even now, like, what is her name, Maurice? She's awesome. So it just depends on the individual, I suppose.
Speaking of the former Diva Search girls, Candice Michelle and Christy Hemme, who are both not wrestling anymore due to injuries and whatnot, you made an appearance on WWE Raw back when they were still a part of the Diva Search as a part of a segment. I think it was a Limbo segment with Chris Jericho, Casey Keebler, and all of them. So what was that experience like, and how were the nerves seeing as you were in front of that audience? And Chris Jericho even mentioned your name. So what was that like?
He's cool. Actually, I wasn't nervous at all. I had just been to a wedding in Las Vegas the day before I had to fly out. So I hadn't really slept, and I was so tired. And then I got there, and I had to go right into getting ready and then them telling us what we're going to do. And so I didn't really have time to be nervous, and it was really cool because I already knew Christy and Candice, and I'd met Chris before, so I was actually really relaxed. I had an awesome time, and their production is so amazing. Of course, it's so big, it has to be. Like, it was just run so smoothly, and there's just no room for error. That it was like a perfect day. So, I mean, I give them props to what they do, and all their people that work behind the scenes are amazing.
In between the wrestling and the modeling, you're also an actress, and sometimes when I interview wrestlers who are actresses, some of them say that it's sometimes difficult to switch between wrestling and acting, because with wrestling you have to keep certain stances and you have to, stay a certain way with your character. Do you ever find it difficult to switch between the world of acting and the world of wrestling, or can you live in the both of them simultaneously?
No, I find that it's really easy because you're usually always playing a character. So when you get to play one character over and over and over, I think for me, anyways, it becomes a lot easier. So I think that's one of the things I really enjoy. I like to be able to play somebody else. Like, for example, when I was Malibu Mackenzie on Wrestlicious, I don't even really like going to the beach. I don't really like surfing, but it was so fun playing somebody that's like a California beach girl. So I have fun when it's a different character.
Well, speaking of Wrestlicious, and, you were a part of TV shows that had, over-the-top gimmicks with wrestling characters, and, of course, with Wrestlicious, you have the rap that you did in the intro, and, you also, I think you also played a nurse in one of the scenes, too. Wrestling fans are criticizing shows such as those for kind of the over-the-top gimmicks, and a lot of people find it corny. But then there's a lot of people that, suspend their beliefs a bit more and just find it, as a good time and entertainment. What is your opinion on shows such as those? Do you think that, some fans say that it's, taking women's wrestling back a step, or whatever the case may be of their opinion?
I understand where everybody's coming from, but if it wasn't for those shows, where would women's wrestling be? It probably is not going to be on TV. So you can keep going and seeing them, on the local tours, at gyms, or whatever, at high schools. But it's one way to get people on TV to a bigger audience. For on Wrestlicious, there is a lot of really good wrestlers that they do the circuit and they travel all the time. And then there's other people that aren't such good wrestlers. And there's a part for everybody on those shows. It's funny. And at the same time, people just, need to, relax and just laugh at something. And then they're occasionally going to get to see some really good wrestling, because some of those girls are really amazing. I think people need to relax.
So going forward, you, of course, want to expand your acting career. So how would you like to expand your acting career? Is there any particular genre of film that you would like to work with next? Or would you, like to take more acting classes? Is there any particular person that you like to work with?
I'm in ongoing acting classes. I would like to actually have a regular sitcom show. I would like to have something that I go to every day and not have to audition so much, because I would have my regular show. And maybe I would like to do a horror film, just because it was something I always liked when, I was little. So that's just one of the goals. And for somebody I would like to work with, I don't know. I think I would like anybody, because I'd like to learn from anybody who's, a seasoned actor or actress. Just watch them, and so I'm happy with anybody. I don't have a particular favorite that I want to work with.
Survival in the entertainment industry is very tough for a lot of people, and some are cut out for an industry such as film and wrestling and modeling, and some aren't. And a lot of things can happen behind the scenes that, aspiring actors or actresses don't see. A lot of the times you're going to have to deal with rejection. A lot of the times, there might be some backstabbing. So how do you stay grounded when there's all this animosity? Because, the actual acting part and the filming is like the final product of all the work that you've put in.
I mean, I don't take anything personally. I mean, especially having been on wrestling shows, there's so many people that are just going to talk smack, whether it's true or not, that I'm used to it, that I'm happy with myself, and whatever I do in my auditions, I give it my all, and, you know, there's nothing else I can do. I'm not going to beat myself up about losing a job or whatever it may be. So I think you just got to be happy with yourself, and I am, and that's why I keep going forward. It doesn't get me down.
And jumping back to wrestling a little bit, do you think that anyone, given the right trainer, can be a successful professional wrestler, or is it an industry where just not everyone is cut out for it? What's your opinion on the whole process?
I don't think that everyone is cut out for it. I mean, you could have the best trainer in the world, but if your heart's not in it, you're not going to excel at anything you do. So, no, that's why I was saying there's a lot of people, for example, those models that get into wrestling. If you're just a little prima donna, you just want to be famous, it's probably not going to work for you unless you want to train hard and really do it. I think it has to be inside you and in your heart. I mean, you have to somewhat like it to go far. So, no, I don't think everybody's could be cut out for it. And that people with health issues, too. I mean, everything is choreographed, but it is dangerous, and it is, you know, you have to be athletic somewhat. So, no, I don't think everybody can do it.
Okay, I would be remiss if I didn't bring this up. You had a role in the hit film from 2008, Iron Man, and I really liked that film. I thought it was a good action film. Being on the set and being a part of how successful it was, even if your role was small, did you have a fun experience working on that set and working with all the actors that you worked with?
Yeah, that was actually really amazing. When I got the job, I was in hair and makeup in the trailer, and Robert Downey Jr. came in and introduced himself to me, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. So that is actually somebody who I was very excited to work with, and I really, Jon Favreau, the director, he was so nice, and I just want to thank him so much for giving me that part, and I wish I could have been an Iron Man too. But it was a really amazing day, and it was so fun, and I'm so happy I could be a part of that. What little part I was, I'm very happy I had that part. That was an awesome movie.
So before we get to how fans can contact you, this is always one of my most favorite questions to ask during interviews. And since you're an actress, we'll incorporate that into the question. If you could sum up your experience with professional wrestling and acting using one word each, what would that one word be for each of those fields?
Oh, no. That's a really hard question. You're going to have to ask me something else and come back to that one. I think, what's difficult? Okay, wait, I think I was wrestling. I was an underachiever. I wish that I wasn't. And acting, progression. I'm trying to progress in it.
Okay, well those are two of the most interesting words that I've ever heard. So you did a good job.
Thanks. What do most people say?
I've had a wide array of words. I've had words that are made up. I've had words that don't make sense. I've had simple words that have deeper meaning. So I've basically heard it all with that question. So. Oh,
okay. That's a hard question.
Well, I'm a tough interviewer, and you're doing great, so. Finally, before we get to how people can contact you if they're interested, this is something that has been itching at my skin. I've interviewed people from WoW and Wrestlicious before, and I interviewed Cher Ferreira and Jeannie Kim, who we both know and worked on Wrestlicious and WoW. And you had a match in Wrestlicious that's going to be a part of the DVD that they'll release whenever they get to releasing it. And you were in a match with the Hawaiian Tropic Princess Maui, and you were versus Cher and Dean, who were playing Jimmy's Angel. Do you remember who won that match? I just have to ask. Nobody remembers. You were in a tag match, and Cher and Dean don't remember who won that match.
Oh, it was them.
Thank you, because I've been trying to get to the bottom. I've been trying to get to the bottom of that for months, and they both don't remember, and I didn't see it, so I don't know. And seriously, that question has been itching away at me for a long time. So thank you for clarifying.
That's funny. They pinned Maui. They should remember because we had to do it twice. That's funny. Yeah, and I have the worst memory of anybody. I can't believe I remembered. Maybe I remembered because I was mad that we had to lose. Just kidding.
Well, I'll be sure to let them know, and I'm sure they'll be happy once they see it on DVD.
Yeah, that's funny. Wait, how long ago did you interview them?
I interviewed Jean. I interviewed Jean in the summer, and I interviewed Cher back in September. So it wasn't like too long ago, but they both forgot.
That's funny. Yeah, Jeannie's awesome, and so is Cher. They were so good as Jimmy's Angels. They're cool.
Yeah, I both enjoyed interviewing them both. So I know you have a website, but how can fans or agents or whoever contacts you about fan mail or, possible job opportunities? Where can they reach you?
Well, there is a contact section on my website, which is www.absolutelana.com, and I have a blog there that I update and occasionally, and I do updates. So my website's definitely the best way to get a hold of me. Anyway,
well, fantastic.
Hi.
Well, thank you very much, Lana, for your time, and I really enjoyed this interview. And whatever you do, I wish you the best of luck, and I'm sure you'll find success somewhere.
Thanks, Greg. It was awesome talking to you. And thank you for interviewing me.
Well, thanks to everyone else for tuning into this interview. Be sure to check out www.wrestling-divas, and that's divas with a Z, .webs.com for more exclusive info and content. And be sure to check out Wrestling Divas on Twitter at Wrestling Divas, again with a Z at the end. And, of course, this interview will be uploaded on YouTube through my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/WrestlingDivas. Of course, always with a Z at the end. So thank you very much. Oh, I hate that voice. Thank you very much, everyone, and be sure to check out the website for more exclusive content and info.